Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here. This is your Planning Outlook video updated on Tuesday the 25th of September. Now I've got a general theme of settling down as high pressure builds in as we go towards the start of October. Fair, cool autumnal conditions developing with a touch of frost overnight, common in many valleys and glens, some mist and fog patches around. We've got some windy days still, most notably in the immediate short term with widespread upland gales during Wednesday with some wet weather extensive across the West Highlands of Scotland, but becoming a drier theme and just a few areas of showers maybe from time to time, but many places seeing some fair weather as we go into the start of the new month. That's total rainfall shown through until the end of Saturday, and it really highlights how it's west and northwest Scotland that will see the lion's share of that. So don't worry too much about the numbers, but it's a pretty wet tale with a couple of inches of rain or perhaps much more over some west-facing slopes. But progressively eastwards across the Highlands, a real gradient of rain to leave little, if anything, east of the Cairngorms. So just a few spits and spots maybe coming through at times. Not too much around for Dumfries and Galloway, but some rain in here. Bits of the rain may reach the Lake District, but hardly anything for much of the Pennines and Wales. So look through some charts. These are the next few days. Wednesday has got that strong westerly in charge, widely gale force across the Scottish Munros, 50 to 70 miles per hour, maybe just easing down a touch through the day, but widely a very windy day across the mountains. Rain across the west and northwest Highlands pretty persistent. Very little rain getting toward the eastern side of Scotland though. Bits and pieces of rain on and off across Dumfries and Galloway and the Lake District. Little if anything for much of Wales and the Pennines, maybe a few spots in the wind just from time to time. A cold front is slowly slipping southwards on Thursday, some wet weather again for northwest Scotland. That front tending to weaken as it sinks south across Scotland, reaching the north of England later on with some outbreaks of rain trying to form, but not too much on that. Much of the day for England and Wales should stay dry. Still blustery winds though, focused across perhaps the far north of England and central southern Scotland in the morning, tending to ease down a touch and temperatures dropping quite notably as that cold front moves through, the milder air being swept southwards, chillier air dropping close to freezing on the highest tops by the end of the day. So a cooler air mass is in charge for all places into Friday. That's what's left of that cold front having sunk well southwards. A bright day for most places then, one or two residual showers possible, but high pressure building in. A fresh, bright day with lighter winds for most areas and cloud breaking to many higher tops. Over the weekend, high pressure extends in across central England and Wales. Much of Scotland sees fair weather as well, but just that west-southwesterly wind is still a nuisance, strongest across the far north, where it may even touch gale force on the highest tops, with the cold front just edging into the far northwest Highlands, which may well bring a few spits and spots of rain, depending how far it gets, but many places looking dry, with good cloud breaks, a good amount of sunshine around, but the west and northwestern Highlands may just pull in cloud off the Atlantic to plague these higher tops. So that's pretty much the story through the weekend. Then we've got that big zone of high pressure in across much of Britain, with that westerly flow still affecting northern Scotland to produce some rain or showers maybe in the far northwest Highlands even through into Sunday. Now the high stays out west, it looks like, into the start of next week, and just toppling around that with the wind flow as a west by perhaps northwesterly. Could just be a few areas of showers even for Monday daytime, not to rule out a few zones of rain. It's not absolutely set fair everywhere, mainly towards perhaps the north of Scotland. One or two may just form around the Irish Sea, but very well scattered. The high really suppressing most of the action getting going, but could just be enough locally, particularly northern Scotland, to be of a nuisance. And a rather cool feel, the air mass coming around off the North Atlantic, so chilly on the mountains, some cool nights possible where you get clear skies and light winds. Just coming around that high though is drawing in a bit more moisture off the Atlantic, and we might start to fill in a bit more with stratocumulus cloud into next week, as there's enough moisture available just to fill in the skies a bit more. So not wall-to-wall sunshine, we might just struggle with cloud cover, but should be good breaks to most of the higher summits. Mist and fog overnight, quite common, with the air damp enough to saturate overnight, so it could be some inversion conditions in there at times, particularly in the mornings. England and Wales might well see the most of that, with the high more parked in over the top here, so lighter winds. At the further south you are, could still be always something of a westerly breeze to bother Scotland into next week. Overall, though, high pressure is always staying somewhere nearby, so it looks pretty much set fair for a good few days, one way or the other. Any residual showers, perhaps from Monday, as we mentioned, should fade out. I always just need to watch again if anything tries to come back off the Atlantic, never quite shaking off a complete southwesterly here, but always most of the weather systems being steered to the north of Scotland. Eventually, something over the Atlantic, the remnants of a tropical feature that's south of the Azores, might start to come into play further down the line. It seems a long way off for now. I think the first week of October is more or less under high pressure. So 1 or 2 days still a little bit mixed, but the overall theme isn't too bad, certainly quieter than what we saw during last week when the Atlantic lows were steaming in. We'll update this video again then before the weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.